Yeah, man, sup my purples, welcome to the black hole. My name is Blessed Beats, you already know it. If you did not, then you gotta subscribe to the channel right now and smash the like. It's a new one, mini-series, should I say, and we're gonna call it, let's call it You Can Do, where we attempt to make a certain style or genre of electronic music. Me, I've always been a big fan of jungle music. Old school jungle music, Yuki Apache, MC Skibbity, Goldmouth. Now, as of late, Pete Cannon. Some people are keeping the scene alive, you know what I'm saying? It's been a little bit of a revival. And nothing goes up against that good old amen break and some deep bass to go along with it. It's a never dying recipe, you know what I'm saying? I love the energy that you get from it. So let's see if we can break this down and figure out if you can do. What do we need to make an old school jungle of music? Hard, fast, energetic, chopped up drum break drums, a deep sub bass, maybe some special effects sprinkled on it, some atmospheric sound, you know what I'm saying? At the very tops, a synthesizer pad, a MC to toast on it. I'm not doing that. That's too much cultural appropriation for me. No Jamaican accents. I still love snow. And most important of all, street credibility. We're going to pull this off on the MPC One. You can do it, of course, with anything, Maschine, any DAW that you like. The main principles, it's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? But since we had a request to do it on the MPC One, that's what we're doing. All right, check them out. Number one, prioritizationalizing, saving the project. I like to do that in the beginning, so I'm going to find my folder on the SD card entitled Projects and call it Jungle Trek.
Perfect.
Natural end to begin in would be to find a drum break. So I'm going to go to my folder, all the breaks, where I have all the breaks in the entire world, and type in, I'm going to let you guess, give you a few seconds, Amen. There it is, the classic. Next step, naturally, we're going to chop her up. So let's go into sample edit. And we can get rid of that junk in the beginning. Matter of fact, we don't need that neither. We're going to start from the second bar here, from the kick. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you count the rhythm. So to make it easier on ourselves, we're going to chop it and discard everything to keep an even loop here before we chop it up. Discard? Okay, good. If you want to lay back and relax, you can go in here and slow it down a little bit. Slow the pitch down before you start chopping it. That way, when you chop it manually, you won't have to be razor fast with the fingers. I'm just going to chop it up like this. With the manual mode, double tapping trim is how you get in here. I didn't do it perfect, so I'm adjusting all of the start points here. Referencing back and forth. Making sure I'm getting the beginning of all those transients of the kicks and the snares. But the key here is you need to chop it up in eighths, or you don't need to, but you're going to make it a hell of a lot easier on yourself if you just chop it up in even eighths. And you'll see why. Let's press shift, press convert, and make a new program out of that. Go out into the main menu, get the full level. And when we set the tempo, we want to aim real high. 160 is going to do it. You can go even higher than that if you want to. I'm just checking so the metronome is on here. I want it to be on in the play mode. Like that. Because what I'm doing is checking if the sample is pitched up to play fast enough to be in tempo. It is not. I want the samples to choke each other, so oops, made a little whoopsie. we did not select our chopped samples program. We need to select our program after we chop our samples. And now we're in the right one, and they're automatically choking each other because it's set to be monophonic. Now in program edit, we're going to adjust the pitch. We're going to make the sample go faster by pitching it up so we can match that metronome with the tempo. We're getting close enough, so I'm going to record that. And this is the most basic jungle chop, you know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3, 2. So all you need to do is chop it up in eighths, record that. We can hear it's still a bit off, so I'm going to use this fine tune to get the pitch a little bit closer to the BPM. Still a bit fast, but it's going to do for now. We can always go back and change that. Now we're making a second sequence, so we have a couple of sequences with different drum patterns on them, so we can have the variation in there. You can obviously do this at whichever point you want, but I'm laying a couple drum patterns down from the beginning. And here you can just use your creativity, imagination, add some extra stuff, make some different rhythms, add some ghost notes here and there. I'm just experimenting, seeing what I can come up with. And this is the part where you will probably drive the remainders of your household residents crazy. You need to do something about that gap there. And what you see here is my brain thinking, how would it sound if that chop went there or went in another place? And then I'm just filling these parts out a little bit. Gotta catch it. Initially I had the timing correct, or the quantize set to eighths, but when I'm doing this, I might get down to 30 seconds even. 32 ends. That's where I wanted it. Now I want to lower the velocity. So I'll go to velocity here and turn these two downs, the snares. That's what you might call ghost notes or ghost hits or something similar like that. I'm going back in to fine-tune the pitch to get it a little bit more on the rhythm. And that sounds better, much better already. It's not perfect. Now I'll go into filter and envelope, press this button here and select all to edit all the parameters of all the pads at the same time. And just give the attack a little bit of a nudge to make sure that we get some less clicks and pops. A little bit less of them clicks and pops. Just repeat the process for however long you want to take it, adding these little details and flares and bells and whistles. Now let us see about this bonus trick. I want it to sound like an Amiga, like a drum break had run through the Amiga. So what we're going to do about this is add the air lo-fi effect. And I think I'm just shooting from the hip here, but it's around 8 bits. And let's say we're sampling at 11 kilohertz to get some lo-fi there. This is optional because it's going to degrade the audio quality, but I like degraded audio quality. At times, perchance, it's a question of flavor. Mess around with the anti-aliasing a little bit. Let's say you wanted that old school jungle time stretch. You can go into the drum track and bounce it to a new sample. This is one of the ways of doing it. I find it to be the most convenient. Make a new sequence there. And we're actually going to make a new drum program and go in and assign our new sample, the resampled version of our drum break. I can't recall if keeping the BPM on is a good idea. What would this sound like if we set it to 50%? Let's try. Be adventurous. Nope, that is not what we want. 200. Halves it. It's not aligned with my logic, but yeah, we got a half speed here. I'll just record that onto a separate sequence, and in case we wanted to use that, we can have it. It doesn't sound very good. The time stretch is shit on the MPC One, but yeah. Here's a little middle sequence, and that's gonna conclude it for our drums. Alright, I'm turning off the metronome here, so we don't hear it in play mode. We just want to hear it when it records. Now, let's get on a new track, make a plug-in program, and select a bassline synth. I think we're going to be able to find something in the presets, and the sub preset is actually a pretty wonderful, perfect one for this. It's just a pretty simple sine wave one. If this happens, you need to go a few octaves down, and obviously that mouse squeak was not a good bass, but once it gets down here in the lower range, you can hear it's got some good sub punch to it. Repeat the process for our other radical pattern. A little sloppy, but we'll just fix that by nudging. I'd rather keep the timing correct off and have the bass come in slightly after the drums hit. And that concludes our main elements, drums and bass. Some argue drum and bass is synonymous with jungle. Let's make a new plug-in track here because we want a synthesizer pad. So we're using Tube Synth for it, browsing some presets. Here it's up to you really what you find tickles your amygdala. You could use chord mode to play the chords, but we're gonna do something a little bit different, I think, actually. I'm just farking around. But what we're gonna do is actually find another preset first. What we're gonna do is play our own notes and just play one chord and then resample that. Similarly to how we did when we resampled and time stretched the drum break. Let's just find something. Yeah. Playing a chord that's in key with our bass line. And just recording this simple chord here in solo, because all we're going to do is bounce it to a new sample. And now we're going to make a key group, which we will assign this sample to, and just repitch it chromatically. You get this a lot. I'm presuming it was because what we're doing is emulating that they didn't have all that sample time and stuff, so they would just sample a couple of chords and repitch them. And they thought it sounded dope, I presume. Added a compressor to push the volume up a little bit here. And you can hear instantly that you get that sound that is very reminiscent of a lot of jungle and drum and bass. Chord-wise. We don't need much more, but of course we need a toy gun space effects. Might upload this to my Patreon. I'm thinking of making a makeover, and what you're going to receive there is just a whole bunch of nice stuff like sounds and stems of things that I'm working on. So consider becoming a Patreon. Support a motherfucker out here in Sweden, you know what I'm saying? And if you're as old as me, you recognize those sounds. Sprinkle some of that stuff over. Sprinkling stuff is some of my favorite things to do when producing music. And the last thing I'm gonna do is actually take a kick and set 16 levels to velocity and dub the kick drum because I want a little bit more bottom and kick. And we end up with something like this. Good job. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this, please smash the like button. You know what it is already. You gotta subscribe. You gotta share the video to the entire world so that you can do and the others can also do. In the comments, please drop, what should we do next in this You Can Do series? Is it gonna be electronical rhythm and polka? Anything but boom bap, really. Challenge me and let's do this thing. All right, okay, bye-bye.